Yatadhanandana Braja Janaranjana Yatadhanandana Braja Jamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahams Privarajakacharya Ashtotar Srimad Abhay Charanar Vinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan Lalita Vishakha Devi Ki Jai Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai Shri Shri Krishna Balaram Ki Jai Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maharani Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavate Uttam Shloker Bhaktir Nashtaki. Today we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, called The Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 26, entitled King Puranjana Goes to Forest to Hunt. Is that the full title? Yes. And his queen becomes angry. So the title is The King Puranjana Goes to Forest to Hunt, and his queen becomes angry. And the text is number 8 on the board. Please repeat after me. Annatha karma kurvano mana rudho nibadhyate guna pravaha patito nashta pragyo vrajatya adha anyatha karma kurvano mana rudho nibadhyate guna pravaha patito नष्ट प्रज्ञो व्रजत्यधा अन्यथा कर्म कुर्वाणो मानारूढ़ो निबध्यते गुना प्रवाहपतितो नष्ट प्रज्ञो व्रजत्यधा अन्यथा कर्म कुर्वाणो मानारूढ़ो निबध्यते गुना प्रवाहपतितो नष्ट प्रज्ञो व्रजत्यधा कुर्वाणो पूर्व कर्मणो रूढ़ो निबध्यते प्रवाहपतितो नष्ट प्रज्ञा प्रजत्यथा अन्यथा कर्म कुर्वाणो निबध्यते गुना प्रवाहपतितो नष्ट प्रज्ञो व्रजत्यतः अन्यथा कर्म कुर्वाणो निबध्यते गुना प्रवाहपतितो नष्ट प्रज्ञो व्रजत्यतः अन्यथा कर्म कुर्वाणो निबध्यते गुना प्रवाहपतितो नष्ट प्रज्ञा व्रजत्यधा. Mataji's अन्यथा कर्म कर्माणो मानारूढ़ो निबध्यते गुना प्रवाहपतितो नष्ट प्रज्ञो व्रजत्यधा अन्यथा कर्म कुर्वाणो मानारूढ़ो निबध्यते गुना प्रवाहपतितो नष्ट प्रज्ञो व्रजत्यधा अन्यथा कर्म कुर्वाणो मानारूढ़ो निबध्यते गुणः प्रवाहपतितो नष्ट प्रज्ञो व्रजत्यधा. Word to word translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Please repeat after me. Anyatha, otherwise, karma, fruitive activities, kurvanaha, while acting, mana arudaha, being influenced by false prestige, nibadhyate, one becomes entangled, guna pravaha, by the influence of the material qualities, patitaha, fallen, nashta pragyaha, in a stool to high position in the Brahmaloka planet. Purport, it's a long purport, so please, very important person, purport. A lot of points have been mentioned by Prabhupada, very deep points, so let's concentrate on this purport. Purport, there are many important words in this verse. The first is annatha, otherwise, which indicates one who does not care for the Vedic rules and regulations. The rules and regulations laid down in the Vedas are called Shastra Vidhi. Bhagavad Gita clearly states that one who does not accept the Shastra Vidhi or rules and regulations mentioned in the Vedic scriptures and acts whimsically or puffed up with false pride never attains perfection in this life. Nor does he attain happiness or liberation from the material condition. Iha shastra vidim usrajya vartate kamakarataha na sa siddhim avapanoti na sukham na param gatim. He who discards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness nor the supreme destination. Bhagavad Gita 16:23. Thus one who is deliberately transgressing the rules and regulations of the Shastras is simply involving himself more and more in material existence, in the three modes of material nature. Human society should therefore follow the Vedic principles of life, which are summarized in Bhagavad Gita. Otherwise, life and material existence will continue. Foolish persons do not know that the soul is passing through 8,400,000 species of life. By the gradual process of evolution, when one comes to the human form of life, he is supposed to follow the rules and regulations laid down in the Vedas. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that the living entity, since time immemorial, is suffering the threefold miseries of material nature due to his demoniac attitude, which is a spirit of revolt against the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna also confirms this in Bhagavad Gita 15:7. Mameva vamsho jiva loke jiva bhutaha sanatanaha manashasthani indriyani prakritisthani karshati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. Every living entity is part and parcel of God. There's no reason for the living entities being put into the miserable threefold condition of material existence, but that he voluntarily accepts material existence on the false pretext of becoming an enjoyer. To save him from this horrible condition, the Lord has given all Vedic literatures in his incarnation of Vyasadeva. It is therefore said, Krishna bhuli say jiv anadi bahir mukha ateva maya tare deya samsara dukkha. By forgetting Krishna, the living entity has become materialistic since time immemorial. Therefore, the illusory energy of Krishna is giving him different types of miseries in material existence. Chaitanya Charitamrit, Madhya Leela 21:17. Maya mugdh jivere nahi svatha Krishna gyan, jivere kripa kaile Krishna Veda Puran. When a living entity is enchanted by the external energy, he cannot revive his original Krishna consciousness independently. Due to such circumstances, Krishna has kindly given him the Vedic literatures, such as the 4 Vedas and the 18 Puranas. Chaitanya Charitamrit, Madhya Leela 21:2. Every human being should therefore take advantage of the Vedic instructions. Otherwise, one will be bound by his whimsical activities and will be without any guide. The word mana rudha is also very significant in this verse. Under the pretext of becoming great philosophers and scientists, men throughout the whole world are working on the mental platform. Such men are generally non-devotees. Do you not due to not caring for the instructions given by the Lord to the first living creature, Lord Brahma. The Bhagavatam 5:18-12 therefore says, Harava bhaktasya kuto mahad guna mano rathena sati dhavato bahi. Mano rathena sati dhavato bahi. A person who is a non-devotee has no good qualifications because he acts on the mental platform. One who acts on the mental platform has to change his standard of knowledge periodically. We consequently see that one philosopher may disagree with another philosopher, and one scientist may put forward a theory contradicting the theory of another scientist. All of this is due to their working on the mental platform without a standard of knowledge. In the Vedic instructions, however, this standard of knowledge is accepted, even though it may sometimes appear that the statements are contradictory. Because the Vedas are standard of knowledge, even though they may appear contradictory, they should be accepted. If one does not accept them, he will be bound by the material conditions. The material conditions are described in this verse as guna pravaha, the flowing of the three modes of material nature. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur therefore says in a song, Miche mayar vashe yacha bheshe kach habu dubu bhai. Why are you suffering? Why are you sometimes being drowned in the waves of material nature and sometimes coming to the surface? Jiva Krishna das e vishwash kale tar dukkhanai. Please therefore accept yourself as a servant of Krishna. Then you will be freed from all miseries. As soon as one surrenders to Krishna and accepts the perfect standard of knowledge, which is Bhagavad Gita as it is, he then comes out of the material modes of nature and does not fall down and lose his knowledge. Nashta pragya. The word pragya means perfect knowledge. And nashta pragya means one who has no perfect knowledge. One who does not have perfect knowledge and has only mental speculation. By such mental speculation one falls down and down into hellish condition of life. By transgressing the laws laid down by the Shastras, one cannot become pure in heart. When one's heart is not purified, one acts according to the three material modes of nature. These activities are very nicely explained in verse 1 through 6 of 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan Lalita Vishaka Devi ki jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki jai. Bhagavad Gita 2:45 further explains, Tre gunne vishaya veda nestre gunne bhavarjuna nirdvando nitya sattvastho niryoga shema atmavan. The Vedas mainly deal with the subject of the three modes of material nature. Rise above these modes, O Arjuna. Be transcendental to all of them. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. The entire world and all material knowledge is within the three modes of material nature. One has to transcend these modes, and to attain that platform transcendence, one must follow the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus become perfect in life. Otherwise, one will be knocked down by the waves of the material nature's three modes. This is further explained in Srimad Bhagavatam 7:5-30 in the words of Prahlad Maharaj. Matir na Krishna pratha swato va mitto abhipadayet graha vartanam adanta gobhir vishatam tamishram punha punascharvita charvananam. Materialistic persons who are too much engaged in material enjoyment and who do not know anything beyond their material experiences are carried by the whims of material nature. They live a life characterized by chewing the chewed and they are controlled by their uncontrolled senses. Thus they go down to the darkest regions of hellish life. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Abhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayham Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Aham Shri Guroho Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Paricharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kant Radha Kant Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhobhe Evacha Patita Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Annatha karma karvano mana rudho nibadhate guna prabhapatito nashta pragya vrijatyadha. Otherwise, a person who acts whimsically falls down due to false prestige. Thus he becomes involved in the laws of nature, which are composed of three qualities, goodness, passion and ignorance. In this way, a living entity becomes devoid of his real intelligence and becomes perpetually lost in the cycle of birth and death. Thus he goes up and down from a microbe in a stool to a high position in Brahmaloka planet. So very long purport, a lot of very, very important points mentioned by Srila Prabhupada. I will request everyone to read that because I don't think we'll be able to cover all those points. So it starts, this verse particularly starts with otherwise annatha. Otherwise what? Otherwise, because of this text 7, previous verse which is text 7, which says, Narad Muni continued to speak to King Prachin Bharishat. And what does Narad Muni says? He says, my dear king, any person who works according to the directions of the Vedic scriptures does not become involved in fruitive activities. Why fruitive activities? Narad Muni is saying because as we've mentioned many times in the past, King Prachin Bharishat was very much involved, very much engaged in fruitive activities. All his life, his aim of life became karma, to follow the Karma Kand section of the Vedas. Therefore he was performing so many yagyas, so many sacrifices, so many rituals, which was taking him from the real path of spiritual progress which his sons had taken, the 10 Prachetas. So Narad Muni became very compassionate upon the king, and therefore he started instructing him. And here he is telling him one should work according to directions of the Vedic scriptures. Otherwise, one will become involved in Karma Kand section, because most of the Vedas are Karma Kand. As we have mentioned in the past, 92% of all Vedic scriptures constitute Karma Kand. Only 4% constitute Jnana, 6% constitute Jnana, 4% constitute Jnana Kand, and last 4% constitute Upasana Kand or Bhakti Yoga. So majority is Karma Kand, and Prabhupada later on in his verse in his purport he mentions Tre Gunne Vishaya Veda, because they're just dealing with the three modes of material nature. And Lord Krishna encourages right at the beginning of Bhagavad Gita to rise above them, rise above the Vedic injunctions. Although this purport, the summary of this purport is Prabhupada and Narad Muni, first of all, encouraging King Prachin Bharishit to follow the Vedic injunctions properly. So one has to follow the Vedas. But then later on, we will find in the purport, then Prabhupada saying, actually, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, to rise above the Vedas. First follow them, and then rise above them. Then do what? Follow them properly. That's the whole summary of the purport and the instructions of what King Prachin Bharishit has been told by Narad Muni. Follow the Vedas, then follow them properly. That's the summary. And how to follow the Vedas and how to follow them properly is a whole big subject matter. That's what Narad Muni is telling King Prachin Bharishit. So Prabhupada starts his purport. We'll just go point by point as much as we can, about regulation. And whole point of the instruction of Narad Muni to the king is regulate. Regulate. And we find in this world many people, sometimes most people, don't want to be regulated. They don't want to be restricted. They don't want to be guided. They don't want to be quote and unquote controlled by in any aspect of their life. Who wants to go to work? Who wants to follow the rules and regulations of the traffic? Well, in India they don't anyway, but who wants to follow them? Who wants to follow what the government, the laws and order of the government? Who wants to do that? Who wants to come to the Mangalarti? Who wants to follow the four regulation principles? Who wants to do that? Well, some of you may, some of us don't. So who wants to do that? So like that, unless one is forced or unless one is convinced, yes, I have to do it, then one follows. And unless one is convinced the path one is following is the right one, appropriate one, and will take us to our destination, then one inevitably, naturally follows these rules and regulations. But most people in this world, outside, in a normal world, they don't. There's only one way they follow, not of conviction, not by force, but that's something which affects everyone in the material world. What is that which affects everyone, by which they enjoy? Is money. So if you force, if you bring regulations which will make them pay penalty of money, then they will follow. Otherwise they won't follow. That is generally seen. So money is again the root cause of either following or not following. Depends how you use it. But that is the best way of making people follow the rules and regulations, by imposing penalties on them. But they're forced. But better than that is following these rules and regulations, being regulated, if one is convinced of the process one is following. And Prabhupada has pointed out in the previous purports, here we go. Prabhupada has pointed out in the previous purports that restriction or regulation is better than unrestriction or unregulation. And better than regulation is prohibition. But prohibition or regulation of the material body, the gross senses, or the gross desires of eating, sleeping, mating and defending is the first stage. But better than that is the regulation on a subtle level. The Sukshma Sharir. the subtle desires, labh, puja and pratishtha, adoration, name, distinction and profit. That is better than the gross restriction. And better than the subtle desires is the control of material intelligence. If the material intelligence becomes corrupted, as in this case, because the intelligence of King Prachin Bharishat has become corrupted. His desires, his whole mindset has become corrupted. Why? Because of this beautiful lady he saw. And who's this beautiful lady is representing? Material intelligence. But better than that, even better, one finds, is the regulation and control by the spiritual intelligence. And the whole purpose of the instructions of Narad Muni to king is to use his spiritual intelligence. And how is his spiritual intelligence regulated and controlled? By guidance, by spiritual guidance, by higher authorities. And Prabhupada has previously pointed out, he says, Mahat Sevam Dvaram Ahur Vimuktes. He quotes a text from the 5th canto. He says, by association of this Mahat, or the devotees, one's path, Ahur Vimuktes, the liberation, path of liberation becomes open. But the key thing is to control the intelligence, the real intelligence. Intelligence has two categories, as we're finding out. The spiritual, the real, and the material. So the real intelligence, material intelligence controls everything. But to control that is by following the authorities and associating with the great devotees. But here, in the purport, and Narad Muni is trying to convince the king, follow the scriptures. And if one doesn't follow Annatha, what happens? And Prabhupada quotes in his purport, Yah Shastra Vidhim Usrajya Vartate Kama Karataha Na Sa Siddhim Avapanoti Na Sukham Na Param Gatim. He who discards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness nor the supreme destination. And in the text also, a person who acts whimsically. So what does whimsically mean? And what does whims mean? It means acting in lust, in the platform of lust. What is the platform of lust? Prabhupada points out in other purports. He says, lust is when one knows something is right, but one still doesn't do that right thing. That is acting on the platform of lust. So that's what whimsically mean. We know what is right, but we don't do it. Because of various aspects, the hierarchy we've gone through. But then, on the purport of this particular text in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada has made many wonderful points. I'll just read the main points to you. Prabhupada says, if one does not follow the Vedic scriptures, but acts whimsically, what is the result? And Narad Muni will also point that out, but in Bhagavad Gita purport, Prabhupada points it out. He said that person will never attain perfection in life. He will never go towards the path of perfection, but will always go down. He will degrade himself. And Prabhupada further, he argues, he states, Prabhupada further states, okay, at one level, one does not follow. But the other level, he may theoretically know what is right, what is wrong. But he does not apply that in his life. So then what is the result of that? That person is known to be the lowest of mankind, a Naradhama. And then Prabhupada goes even further, he states. He says, if one does follow the rules and regulations and moral principles, but does not come to the proper understanding, what happens to that? What is the result of that? Prabhupada says all his knowledge is spoiled. What is the use? There's a saying in English, so close yet so far. And then Prabhupada further states, in the purport, he says, if one accepts the existence of God, but does not engage in devotional service, then what happens to that? What is the result? He says, then all his attempts are spoiled. So these are different degradations of following and not following. And Prabhupada very aptly brings that out in the purport of the Bhagavad Gita of 1623. And that particular verse he quotes here. And then later on, the conclusion. So what is the conclusion? The conclusion is, therefore one has to gradually rise to the platform of devotional service or Krishna consciousness and attain the highest perfection of life. Otherwise, that will never happen. And then moving on quickly, because time is not with us, Prabhupada points out in his purport, and this, how to follow the scriptures and the rules and regulations, they are summarized in Bhagavad Gita. And all of the world and Bhagavad Gita, if one reads, is the many topics, no doubt, but one theme running across is the three modes of material nature. Everything is done by three modes of material nature, as Prabhupada is pointing out in this verse also. Why Bhagavad Gita? Because as we all know, just to remind ourselves, Bhagavad Gita is the essence, the summary of all the Vedic literatures, all the Vedic scriptures. Sarva Upanishado Gava, Dogdha Gopalananda, Nandana Adi Shankaracharya points it out in Gita Mahatmya. For Gita, also known as Gita Upanishad, is the essence of all Vedic literature. And it is said in Anand Ramayan that all the Vedic literatures, including the Puranas, the Itihas, the Upanishads, etc., they constitute 1 billion verses, 100 crore verses. And all of them are actually summarized in 700 verses, which is the Bhagavad Gita. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan Lalita Vishakha Devi ki jai, Shri Shri Gaunitai ki jai, Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki jai. So all of them are actually summarized in Bhagavad Gita. That's why Prabhupada is putting emphasis on everything one may want to know is in this Bhagavad Gita. And that's a guarantee. Actually, if one analyzes, whatever question one may have, whatever thought or any inquiry may have, whatever research one may want to do, that will find the answer to in the 700 verses. You should try it. Anything, any questions you have, try that. Try that. And you guaranteed that all the answers are found in just these 700 verses. The details you have to look other scriptures, but the principles are found in Bhagavad Gita. And then later on, and in this particular purport, Prabhupada points out, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu points out the spirit of revolt against the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what is that spirit of revolt? Everyone revolted. The living entities going through 8,400,000 species of life, and they're struggling. Prabhupada quotes, Mameva Vamsha Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana Manashrasthani Indriyani Prakritisthani Karshati. They're struggling for existence. Why are they struggling for existence? Because the living entities have revolted. We have all revolted, except the Nitya Siddhas and the Nitya Baddhas definitely have revolted against the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's why the result of this revolt is the struggle in material existence. But Chaitanya, so what is this? What is the definition of revolt? And Prabhupada in various purports give 2 or 3 definitions. One, he says, the material existence is a revolt. Living is a revolt. Why, he points out? Because, and he says, the living entities voluntarily, he points out, voluntarily accepted the company of the material world, voluntarily rejected the company of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As soon as the living entity rejects that voluntarily, then the only alternative is to accept this particular existence we find ourselves, in which one is just struggling, karshati, which mind, with the mind and the six senses. But Prabhupada points out in other verses that revolt means that existing in the and taking up certain processes is also revolt. What are these spiritual processes? Jnana, Karma Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and Ashtanga Yoga. Karma Yoga, then you have a Jnana Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga, all these various processes. By taking that up, one may think one is progressing. Yes, eventually, but Prabhupada says that's also revolt. We are revolting against the Supreme Personality of Godhead because we're not following the ultimate path. We are going in a long way, or maybe wrong way sometimes. So that's a revolt. Because Prabhupada says everyone wants to become a demigod. Everyone wants to become a controller. Because that's the reason one left the spiritual world and came here. So that's inherent enjoyment propensity is there, and because of that, everyone wants to become a demigod. And Prabhupada says that either by social activity, or by political activity, or by Vedic rituals, one wants to control and elevate oneself to enjoy. And if one is frustrated, he wants to merge with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And all these aspects are different categories of revolt against the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that's why Prabhupada says, when Lord Krishna, in the end of Bhagavad Gita, Sarvadharman Paritajya, Mamekam Sharanam Vraja, surrender unto me. But the living entities did not surrender because of the revolt spirit. And then Prabhupada points out, that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came. To show how to surrender, to get away, get above the spirit of revolt against the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Krishna is so kind. Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. And he has given, Prabhupada points it out in the purport, that to save the living entity from horrible condition, the Lord has given all Vedic literatures in his incarnation of Vyasadeva. And then he quotes the verses from Chaitanya Charitamrita. And we do find that although the Vedas are there, as Prabhupada said in Bhagavad Gita purport, the Vedic scriptures are there, but some people don't follow the Vedic scriptures because they act on mental platform. And mental platform means they concoct, they make up certain ideas, certain thoughts by which they follow. And we see that today, many people, they act on this level, on mental platform. Sometimes they don't even have never opened a book, any Vedic scripture, yet they profess their great religious personality. They never read one single piece of verse from the scriptures of Bhagavad Gita, yet they claim to know who God is because they are God. So they claim they know everything about what is to be known. They don't take advantage, and Prabhupada points it out, there's so many magazines. Actually, he quotes Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. We see that today also. Daily magazines, daily newspapers, weekly magazines, weekly newspapers. In this small town of Ujjain, only 5 lakh population, there are about half a dozen daily newspapers. And about 15, 20 different newspapers weekly. And 30, 40 monthly. And there's so many magazines. What is going on in this 500,000 people? What is going on? Can you imagine how many papers, daily papers, books, magazines are there in the world? Millions Okay, hundreds of thousands. And everyone has time to read them. Everyone has time to gossip. They want to know what gossip is all about, what is going on with the other person, or the celebrities, or the stars, or the politicians, or the sports personalities, etc. But the Vedic scriptures are there. No one wants to know. And that's why Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur started this Sajjan Toshani. And he said he can write, he can produce a magazine every second. Why? Because spiritual material world is infinitesimal compared to the spiritual world. If so much is going on in this world with so many magazines daily, one can imagine how many magazines and daily newspapers are required for the activities in the spiritual world. So, but unfortunately, people don't want to open one single page of the Vedic scriptures. They say, I know everything. And yet, they profess to be very religious personalities. And because of Krishna's compassion, Krishna gives these. And then Prabhupada later on talks about the qualities of a devotee, qualities of non-devotee. Harava bhaktasya kuto mahad guna mano rathana sati dhavato bhi. A person who's not a devotee has no good qualification, because again he acts on the mental platform. And then we know the famous verse from Mahabharata, and Prabhupada quotes at other places. How does it start? Tarko pratishtha shrutoyo vibhinna na asav rishi yasya matam na bhinnam dharmasya tattvam nihitam goyayam mahajano yena gathasya pantha. Because dry arguments are inconclusive. Why? Because one is acting on the platform, mental platform, acting as a muni. A muni or a great philosopher is only regarded as a muni unless he disagrees with somebody else. And Prabhupada says in this, one who acts on mental platform has to change his standard of knowledge periodically. We constantly see one philosopher disagrees with other philosopher, one scientist disagrees with other, putting forward different theories, contradicting theories. This is due to working on mental platform. There's no standard of knowledge. Those who do science, Ganganayan Prabhu is a doctor, we have Sachisuta Prabhu is a doctor, medical doctor. I remember when I was doing chemistry, what we learned when I went to the university, what we learned at our college level. The first lesson in the university, they told us to forget what we learned at our college level. Because not all, some standard theories are there, but many of the theories have changed or been modified. Because what you learn at college level, at A level in England, when you go to university, they teach you something else. Because theories are changing all the time. And that's the science. Science means theory. And theory means acting on mental platform. And Prabhupada points it out, unless one scientist differs from other scientists, he is not recognized. That's why so many science journals, Scientific American, so many. I forgot the many names now. And each journal, every week, different theories, different researches are coming out. And the only way to win a Nobel Prize is to differ from somebody else. If I don't differ from that scientist and prove that he is wrong or I'm right, I won't win. Why do I want to win? Because I want to control the other science community, and I want to be on top. Because that's what ultimately it means, to show other people down. That's the nature. Because to enjoy means to put somebody else down. That's basic principle. But Prabhupada says, however, the Vedic knowledge does not change. It's a standard. It remains the same millions of years ago, it remains the same now, and it will remain millions of years in the future. Unlike science, every 10 years, theory changes. Or every 6 months, theory changes. But Prabhupada points it out, sometimes the Vedic knowledge may contradict also. And in Prabhupada points it out in other places, just like it is said that the stool of animal is impure, but yet the stool of a cow is regarded as pure. There's contradiction. The bone of a person, an animal, is impure, but the conch shell is also bone of an animal, but that's pure. So these may seem contradictions, but Prabhupada points out actually they're not contradictions. They arise due to our lack of understanding. And why there's a lack of understanding? Because we don't surrender or we don't take guidance from the right authority. We don't surrender or we don't approach a spiritual master. Tad viddhi pranipaten pariprashnena sevaya. So we don't do that. And because we act on mental platform all the time, we speculate, we do this, or we think, oh, Vedas, we read 10 pages of the Vedas, we think, oh, Vedas are useless because they contradict each other. But because we haven't approached the right person who knows what the knowledge is all about, that's why there may seem contradictions. But they should be accepted as they are after one becoming convinced. Because they are perfect knowledge. And one who does not have perfect knowledge acts on a mental platform. And by this mental speculation, one falls down into hellish conditions of life. And this asrik bhav, is another, the other reason for revolt against the personality Godhead. And Lord Krishna in 16th chapter, 19th verse, I think, says, Shipam me ajrasam. He says he perpetually, 16? He perpetually casts these individuals into demoniac form of life. Those who don't follow, those who act on mental platform, and those who don't follow the Vedic scriptures. That's what Narad Muni is trying to convince the king. And then, after becoming convinced, yes, one has to follow the Vedic scriptures, then Narad Muni and Prabhupada goes deeper in the Vedic scriptures. Yes, follow that section, don't follow that section. Because the king was following only one particular section, which is the Karmakand section. And then Narad Muni and Krishna says, rise above them, Tregunya Vishaya Veda, because they're only dealing with 3 modes of material nature. Otherwise, those, and lastly, Prabhupada points out, quotes Prahlad Maharaj, Punha punascharvito charvananam. Those individuals very much engaged in enjoying the material energy, and they don't know anything beyond the mental speculation and material experiences, and are carried away by the whims, by lust of material nature. And they just live, and their lives are characterized by chewing the chewed, because they're controlled by the senses. And control and regulation is very important. Although the modern philosophers or modern psychologists in the West eat, drink, and be merry. That is the motto of life. In India, everywhere, that's the motto of life. Don't worry about what's happened in the past. Don't worry what's going to happen in the future. Just act now. Well, in one sense, that is also what Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. Forget the past that sleeps, nay the future dream at all. But that is a different context. This context is different. Live now, because there's no future. Because there's no future life. You only live once. So that particular mentality means you enjoy, eat, drink and be merry. So do whatever you like. So based on this particular philosophy, based on this particular understanding, everyone says we can, no problem, don't follow this, don't do this, just become unregulated. And that's what, the only way they want to become regulated, as I said earlier, is to earn some money. And with that money, they become again unregulated. So that is their particular philosophy in life. Ultimately, to become unregulation. But the whole point is one has to become regulated under the authority and by which one can progress in spiritual life and obtain the goal of life. I missed many points out in the purport, so please read and understand. Prabhupada is making wonderful points. I'll stop here, time is coming up, because we also have to regulate our tongue and our senses by eating prasad. And if we don't do that, I'll be accused of unregulating all of you. So I'll stop here. If there's any corrections or any points or any questions we can have for a few minutes. Prabhuji? Narottamanand Prabhu? Can you give? Somebody give? Narottamanand Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Baba.
A person who is living from some time in Vrindavan and chant only Radhe, Radhe, Radhe and doing service Krishna devotees, eat Krishna Prasadam, who not know very well about spiritual master, about Shastras, about regulating principles, but we see that he get progress in devotional service, devotional life. How is it possible?
Well, the key word you said in Vrindavan, right? See, there's a couple of considerations. Those who stay...
Prabhu, he chant only Radhe, Radhe, Radhe. Right. Not Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare.
The key thing is living in Vrindavan. Those who stay in Vrindavan, they come under different jurisdiction. They don't come under the such rules and regulations, although such rules and regulations are valid. So in Vrindavan, who is the owner of Vrindavan? The Queen of Vrindavan. Queen of Vrindavan is Radharani. This Hare Krishna mantra is also addressing Radharani. In one sense, chanting Radha 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 in Vrindavan and chanting Hare Krishna in Vrindavan are one and same. But outside Vrindavan, then it's a different context. This is my understanding. Outside Vrindavan is a different context. Even in Vrindavan, one has to follow certain rules and regulations. One has to follow the authority. In Krishna Leela, who's directing the pastimes? Purnamasi. She's telling him, do this, do this, do this, do this. She's guiding and everyone is following. It's not that one also acts whimsically. No. Even living in Vrindavan, one has to follow the authority, take guidance and live appropriately in a regulated way. Because if you don't follow the authority of Radharani, you can't live in Vrindavan. So regulation is there. So, but in terms of following the path, spiritual path, in progress, so one elevates oneself, that's why in Vrajvasis they only chant Radhe Radhe. They don't say Hare Krishna. That's okay. For them is okay. But one has to follow. One has to be regulated. Wherever one is. Otherwise, actually in summary, spiritual world means regulation. Material world means unregulation. So Vrindavan is spiritual world, it's regulation. Okay. Anything else? Otherwise we'll stop. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Samaved Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Krishna